What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Blank Online here today to chat with you more about some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. But before I get any further in this video, 97% of you guys watching the video right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you click that subscribe button to be kept up to date on everything to do with Black Ops Cold War, Warzone Season 6 and more. And without further ado, let's get into the video. The Black Ops Cold War beta is coming thick and fast, and this weekend the beta is going to be arriving for PlayStation 4. So in this video, I'm going to go through weekends 1 and weekend 2, which players can play the game, how you can get access to the beta, and as well as that, my thoughts and expectations for this beta as a whole. I know I've been gone for quite some time. I've been a little bit preoccupied with my podcast, which you guys can listen to and watch. Link in description down below for that. But in the lead up to Black Ops Cold War, I'm going to put 110% into this channel here once again. I'm going to try and manage my time a little bit better and put more effort into Blank Online because I do want to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're very, very close to getting there. So any of your support would be very, very appreciated. But let's get into the Black Ops Cold War beta. Now, this is going to be very, very similar to beta periods we've seen before. Since the PlayStation exclusivity is the thing, PlayStation will obviously get weekend 1 exclusive, and then everywhere else will get weekend 2, including PlayStation. Now, they're doing a similar thing here again, where you're going to have a weekend 1, and then weekend 2 is going to be a crossplay beta. So weekend 1 is exclusive to PlayStation. So from the periods of October 8th to the October the 9th, so that's 2 days, it's PlayStation 4 early access. Now, early access is for players who have pre-ordered the game. Now, keep in mind that this is not pre-ordering the game in a store, not pre-ordering a physical edition. This is only early access if you pre-order a digital copy. And I think that's the one thing that's going to get people a little bit tripped up and a little bit confused, because when you go to a store and when you go to pre-order this latest game, you will not get a beta code like you have in previous years. Previous years, when you go to pre-order the game from a retailer, you will get a beta code that you can redeem, and then you can get access to the early access beta. This year is a little bit different. The only way you're going to get access to that 2 days of early access on the PlayStation 4 is by pre-ordering the game digitally. So whether that be on the PlayStation Store, whether that be the base version, whether that be the Ultimate Edition, whatever edition of Black Ops Cold War you choose to buy, that will give you, on the digital front, it'll give you the early access beta. After the 9th, so from the 10th to the 12th, it's a PlayStation 4 open beta. So whether or not you pre-ordered the game or not, you will get access to Black Ops Cold War from the 10th to the 12th. So from October the 8th to October the 12th, players on PlayStation will be able to play the Black Ops Cold War beta. After the 12th, the beta will go offline, and as soon as the beta goes online once again, on October the 15th, it's going to be for everybody on PlayStation 4. So as soon as weekend 2 is live, it is open for everyone, regardless of whether or not you've pre-ordered the game or not. And then October the 15th, from October the 16th, will be the Xbox and PC early access again. Only digital copies get access to the early access. So whether you did it on the Xbox store or whether you did it on the Blizzard store, only players who have pre-ordered the game digitally will get access to the early access weekend 2 if you're on Xbox and PC. And as I said, PlayStation 4, it's an open beta. Now, the true open beta, meaning that everyone can play the game, will be on October the 17th through to October the 19th. And that's when it's available on all platforms, regardless of whether you've pre-ordered the game and regardless of what platform you choose. So PlayStation, Xbox, PC, pre-order or not, October 17 to 19 is your opportunity to jump on Black Ops Cold War if you missed out on the alpha, if you're not on Xbox and PC, and for PlayStation players to continue playing the game. So the most beneficial way for you to play the Black Ops Cold War beta and to play for the maximum amount of time is by pre-ordering the game digitally and having a PlayStation console. October the 8th through to October the 19th. So that's 2 weekends of playing if you have pre-ordered a digital copy. That is the best, most assured way of you being able to play this game for as much time as you possibly can. Of course, before the full release on November the 13th. So there's nothing too special here. There's nothing too crazy, and there's nothing that's really surprising us here in terms of all of this sort of stuff. The beta will feature modes. So for example, like VIP Escort and Fire Team, which are 2 modes that weren't in the early access beta as well on the PlayStation 4. So the beta is going to bring about new content. Obviously on the PlayStation 4 beta as well, we did get a very limited amount of maps, as well as that a limited amount of perks, weapons, and etc. for us to play around with. To be honest with you, it did have a lot more than I expected from an alpha, especially considering the last alpha we got was a gunfight alpha. It did have quite a lot more than what I expected it to be, but I am expecting the beta here to have a lot more refinement, a lot more improvement, and a lot more content for us to sort of play around with. The whole idea of the beta, and again, I'll reiterate this point, the whole idea of the beta is for us to get in and find things that are broken, find things that are unbalanced, and give constructive criticism to the developers so that they can then improve the game for the initial release of the game. And obviously the game is not going to be in a perfect state when it releases on November the 13th, but we need to get the game to a point where it's as good as it can be, and that's exactly what this beta is going to be. So before you hate on Treyarch and before you hate on Raven Software, consider the fact that this is not the finished thing, and we should just give constructive criticism so that when we do get the finished thing, it can be as good as possible. In terms of what I expect from the open beta compared to the early access alpha, I'm expecting a lot more refinements in terms of the maps that we got in the alpha. I do expect that we're going to get maybe 1 or 2 more maps from the initial 3 that we got from the alpha, but I do expect improvements in, for example, maps like Satellite and maps like Miami as well. There are a lot of criticisms in terms of those 2 maps in particular, and I do expect Treyarch and Raven Software to do some sort of design elements to then fix the problems that people had with those maps in the alpha. As well as that, I do expect a lot more weapon balancing adjustments. I do expect the snipers to not be as good as they were in the alpha. I expect them to be a lot more balanced, but I mean, Treyarch and Raven Software made the snipers unbalanced for a reason. And I don't expect them to be the way they were in the alpha here in the open beta. I do expect refinements to the 74U AK-47 as well. We potentially could be seeing more weapons, therefore more meta weapons and more OP weapons, I guess you may see pop up here and there, but that's what the beta is all about, finding OP things and helping the developers balance them as well. So in the period of open alpha to open beta, I do expect a bunch of improvements. I expect the game to look better. I expect the game to be smoother. I expect there to be some resemblance of what we're going to get on November the 13th. Because keep in mind, we're about a month away from this game coming out, especially when the beta goes live. We will be, as soon as the beta finishes, we will be less than a month from the game coming out. So I do expect, from what we see in the open beta, to be very similar to the finished product. But then again, still reiterating the point and keeping that mindset that this still isn't the finished thing, but it's very similar to what the finished thing is going to be. So I do expect a lot more refinements from what we saw in the early access alpha. In terms of everything else, so like in terms of things like crossplay, things like skill-based matchmaking and all that sort of stuff, I expect crossplay to be very, very smooth and exactly how it was in Modern Warfare 2019. And I do, in a way, skill-based matchmaking is going to be brought up once again when the open beta launches and more players get the opportunity to play the game. So I do expect the conversation of skill-based matchmaking to come back. We don't even know if skill-based matchmaking was in the alpha, and we probably won't even know if skill-based matchmaking is in the beta either. But if we do get some sort of resemblance to it being in the matchmaking system, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about it, and I'm sure I'm going to make a video about it as well. But from what we know so far, the game is going to have a lot of improvements from the alpha. For example, the Treyarch developers on Twitter have been going on and on and on about how this open access beta is going to be a much smoother, more refined game than what we saw in the alpha, which brings me some sort of hope, and it brings me a lot of sort of, I guess, maybe, well, hope was the right word pretty much, that if the turnaround between the open beta and the alpha, if they can improve the game in as much different aspects as they claim to have, then I do have a lot of hope for the final release of the game if the open beta is not as smooth as we want it to be or as refined as we want it to be either. Apparently the Treyarch and Raven Software dev teams work very, very fast and have a very, very quick turnover, so I am expecting them to be able to take in all the criticisms that they're getting and then improve it for the final game as well. But that's pretty much all I have for today. I expect the open beta to be very similar to the final release of the game. And for players who haven't played Black Ops Cold War yet, you're about to experience something that's very different to Modern Warfare 2019, and something that, if Modern Warfare 2019 is your first Call of Duty game, will give you a bit of a culture shock. But for a lot of the old school Call of Duty fans, you're going to find a game that definitely doesn't promote any sort of safe spaces, and you're going to find a game that's as much as a similar old school Call of Duty feel than what we have had in the past 12 months. So That's all I have for you guys today. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you haven't played the game, are you excited for the open beta? And if you have played the alpha already and you've on PS4, are you excited to delve back into Black Ops Cold War? Let me know all that and more in the comment section down below. Click subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss out on my next video. And as I said at the start of the video, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so any of your support will be greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Can't you see the bandage on my face? Wanna light the city, that's my place. Don't you touch the money, that's my case. Ride around the city like you know the place. Killing everybody like you know the base. Stealing all the cars, then you go race.